What's up everyone, Darcblade here with another episode in our Uncharted 4 gun guide series, where we take a look at the weapons in the game, mostly focusing on how they work within the game's multiplayer. In this episode we're going to take a look at the next long gun you'll unlock in the game, the XCR. The XCR is a fully automatic submachine gun in Uncharted 4, and is one of the weapons with an incredibly high rate of fire stat. Unfortunately, the price it pays for having its rate of fire stat maxed out is paid for in all its other stats. It is a long gun that you will unlock by simply getting downs with any other long gun. The weapon also costs 5 loadout points to equip. The XCR stats indicate that it is a close range weapon. While its individual bullet damage is low, it is not a problem due to the weapon's high rate of fire. The XCR's remaining stats show how poorly long to mid-range encounters can go for the weapon. Fighting the recoil is one of the biggest challenges that you will have to face when using this weapon. Despite having a great rate of fire though, the XCR does come with a rather small magazine size. The XCR can be modified in various ways. These include starting ammunition mod, which increases the amount of starting ammunition a player has in reserves when spawning. Taking this though will add 1 loadout point cost to the weapon. Next is reload speed, which increases how fast you can reload the weapon, quite useful for the XCR. Taking this though adds 2 loadout point cost to the weapon. Next is silencer, which makes a player no longer show up on the radar when firing their weapon. But taking this will increase the weapon's loadout point cost by 4. Next is aimed strafe speed, which increases your movement speed while aiming. However, taking this will increase the weapon's loadout point cost by 2. Next is accuracy, which increases how accurate the weapon can be fired at long ranges. Taking this though increases the weapon loadout point cost by 2. Next is clip capacity, which increases the amount of ammo that can be fired from the weapon before reloading. Taking this though also increases the weapon's loadout point cost by 3. Next is blind fire, which increases how accurate the weapon is when you're firing from the hip, as in not aiming down sights. Taking this though will increase the weapon's loadout point cost by 4. And lastly is recoil. This reduces the kickback of the weapon, meaning that your aiming reticule will be easier to manage when firing the weapon. Taking this though will increase the weapon's loadout point cost by 4. The XCR works well with pretty much all of these modifications. This is due to the weapon's low stats apart from its rate of fire. Accuracy and recoil can help increase the weapon's performance at range, but not really to the point where it trumps other long guns. Clip capacity can alleviate the XCR's small magazine size. Blind fire, clip capacity and silencer help performance at close range. Seeing as the weapon is best used at these distances, one of these modifications is normally best. I personally like silencer as my gameplay style involves a lot of staying off radar as much as possible. Of course there are character specific weapons in the game. These pre-made weapons come with 2 modifications attached to them. However, going for one of these weapons can normally cost 10 loadout points or more, so make sure that when you're using one of these weapons, it has 2 mods that you really want on it. The pros for the XCR are that it is a superb close range dueling weapon. Normally in a 1v1 situation at close range, the XCR can beat almost any other weapon. On a map that has cramped areas, it can be a superb tool thanks to that rate of fire. It also works well in the hands of players who like to flank the enemy team. If caught unaware, an enemy team can be strategically eliminated one by one from behind at the hands of an XCR user. However, the weapon does have cons. It performs poorly at any range other than close range. In long to mid-range encounters, you will be at a disadvantage against most other weapons. It's not impossible to fight at these distances if you just tap the fire trigger in a controlled manner, but it would be better to try to use the environment to get closer to your opponents. Also, thanks to the weapon having a small magazine size, it can run into issues when fighting multiple opponents head on. The XCR bears similarities to the Robinson's Armament XCR, albeit with heavy modifications to make it an SMG rather than a full-on assault rifle. It could also be considered the successor to Uncharted 3's Cal 7. Anyway, so let's recap the benefits of the XCR. Firstly, it has one of the highest rate of fire stats in the game. Next, it is a superb close range weapon and is good in 1v1 duels. However, when looking at the cons, it is poor in mid and long range encounters, and it struggles to take on multiple opponents thanks to the small magazine size. Overall, the XCR is a close quarters dream weapon in Uncharted 4's multiplayer. Players who prefer to get up close with their enemy preferring blind fire, using stealth, and have good knowledge of maps will get along well with this weapon. Remember though that it is normally best to retreat or flank rather than engage foes at mid and long range distances. Also keep in mind the small magazine size of the XCR, even when flanking and up close to an opponent. If there are more than one, it can be risky. So using in tandem with the XCR, some explosives or other equipment can help alleviate these issues. And failing this, a quick switch to a sidearm is normally quicker than reloading. And that is why the XCR gets a 6 out of 10. The XCR is by no means a bad weapon at all, and the score is not higher simply due to the limitations this weapon has when compared to other weapons in the game. Despite that though, if you can get the drop on an opponent and use the map to get in close, then you can take apart an enemy team with this weapon easily. Anyway, I've been Darcblade, bringing you my Uncharted 4 gun guide to the XCR. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.